Per reports, the Pittsburgh Steelers are benching quarterback Justin Fields in favor of Russell Wilson. So, even though the Pittsburgh Steelers have a 4-2 record, apparently that's not good enough, because both ESPN and NFL Network insiders have reported that the Pittsburgh Steelers plan to give Russell Wilson first-team reps in practice this week, putting him in line to make a season debut and start Sunday night against the New York Jets in prime time football. So, before I get more into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also like this video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they signed Russell Wilson at the beginning of this offseason after he was released and cut by the Denver Broncos. He signed for the veteran minimum, and the Pittsburgh Steelers plan to go into the season with him being the starting QB number 1. But then, not too long later, they traded away Kenny Pickett to the Philadelphia Eagles. And they also then traded for Justin Fields not too long after. And this trade had Steelers fans wondering, who would be the quarterback this upcoming season? Will it be Russell Wilson, who is the starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos and a veteran quarterback in this league? Or would it be the young guy? Would the Steelers go and turn to the young guy in Justin Fields and give him the opportunity? Well, this was shut down pretty quickly as Mike Tomlin named Russell Wilson as the quarterback in pole position to be the starter opening week. And he was. He was named the starter opening week, but injuries held him back because Russell Wilson, he got injured in training camp and he was limited all throughout training camp and barely practiced, barely went through any drills and stuff with his teammates. But come preseason, he was back. His calf injury was healed and he played in the preseason games. And that's where he was named quarterback number 1 to start the season. But the Thursday before week 1, opening week, he re-aggravates his calf injury and is ruled out. And Justin Fields has to start with only 3 days notice. And he does a really good job week 1. But that means Russell Wilson's on the shelf. And Russell Wilson has been out ever since. Until basically last week, where he was quarterback number 2, backing up Justin Fields. He was no longer the emergency inactive third quarterback, as he was for the first 5 weeks of the season. For week 6 against the Raiders, he was actually quarterback number 2, backing up Justin Fields. So come week 7 now, the Pittsburgh Steelers face the New York Jets on Sunday night primetime football. And it had many fans wondering once again, with Russell Wilson now being fully healthy, will the Pittsburgh Steelers keep Justin Fields at quarterback, or will they turn to the veteran and Russell Wilson, the quarterback who they plan to be quarterback number 1 and the starter when they first brought him in this offseason? Well, the Steelers apparently have got their answers per NFL Networks and ESPN insiders when they have said that Russell Wilson is now planned to overtake Justin Fields and be the quarterback number 1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers in that game against the Jets. All season thus far, even though Justin Fields has been the starter this season, Russell Wilson has remained quarterback number 1 listed on the team's official depth chart on their website. That depth chart gets updated throughout the season with the new players the Pittsburgh Steelers add to the roster, elevate to the main roster, and everything like that. And that quarterback number 1 listed there has been Russell Wilson every single week. It has been Justin Fields listed as quarterback number 2. You would think, even though Russell Wilson was injured for 6 weeks, that he would be quarterback number 2 on that depth chart. But no, it has been Russell Wilson as a starter and Justin Fields. And Mike Tomlin controls that depth chart. It doesn't just switch based off the team website, just updating it. No, it's the coach putting out that depth chart and telling the website what the depth chart is. So obviously he thinks and he has in his mind that Russell Wilson is still quarterback number 1 of this team. So let's now look at Mike Tomlin in this week's press conference, just today, talking about Russell Wilson returning from his injury and who will be the starter this upcoming week. So here it is. Here's Mike Tomlin's quote. He said, "Justin has been really good, and we've been really good at times, but not to be confused with great. This is a competitive league. We're trying to position ourselves to be that team. We got a player with talent who hasn't had an opportunity to play. So we're going to potentially explore those things. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with what Justin has done or not done. Justin has been an asset to us. Last week, his ability to utilize his legs by design and ad-lib was a significant component of that game. We're appreciative of that and how he has taken care of the ball, but we're just looking at all the people at our disposal the same way we do at any position. End quote. Now I'm going to paraphrase another quote by Mike Tomlin. He said this. He said at the quarterback position, he liked what he saw from Russell Wilson last week, and he said that Russell Wilson was going to work in a totality of things and be a full go in practice, not be limited. And he likes what he saw over the course of last week, and he got comfort in seeing Russell Wilson display his health, and now it's about knocking off the rust. He also said that he is in consideration this week to be the starter, and that both guys could lead them into the game, meaning that both guys may be able to play. He also said that he's just going to walk it day by day and put themselves in the best opportunity to win football games. Because at the end of the day, that's what they want to do, win football games. But I'm going to talk about how that kind of contradicts itself. So this is Mike Tomlin's paraphrased quote, and when looking at this, you look at Russell Wilson and he's coming in as a veteran. You can see why they would want someone who won a Super Bowl in their past, someone who's been to a second Super Bowl but lost it, why they would want him to be the starter. But when you look at winning football games, the Pittsburgh Steelers are winning football games. They have a record of 4-2. They are tied for first in their AFC North division, one of the toughest divisions in football. Heading into the season, it was probably the toughest division in football. Obviously, the Cleveland Browns aren't doing too well, and the Cincinnati Bengals aren't doing too well in terms of record-wise, but the Ravens and the Bengals still are atop the teams in the AFC when you think of Super Bowl contenders. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have started off 4-2 and are atop of their AFC North division. So they are winning football games. Yes, they lost 2 games, but they have a positive record. They're atop their AFC division. And when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, if the whole narrative is you want to win football games, as Mike Tomlin says, and he says that that's the only thing that matters, how are you going to take away the Pittsburgh Steelers' best win, blowing out the Raiders by more than by like 20 points? How are you just going to ignore that? How are you going to ignore that and then go strip Justin Fields away from being the starting quarterback? Your whole thing is winning. You just blew out a team for the first time in a long time. The Steelers usually always win by one possession games or by close games in the fourth quarter where they're battling. But no, it was a clear victory for the Steelers this past Sunday against the Raiders. And you're just going to throw that all away and move over to Russell Wilson, who has not even took a snap yet this season and has been unhealthy all offseason. They barely even participated in any training camp or any drills like that because of his calf injury. Barely participated in preseason, only like a few drives here and there, and then got injured before the season and has taken no snaps in weeks. But you're going to take that away from Justin Fields, who has shown that this is the most comfortable he's been in the NFL in his entire career. He feels so comfortable in the Steelers offense, and it shows because he was turnover prone with Chicago. The whole thing with him is fumbles, interceptions. He's going to have a lot of those, but he hasn't. He's had only 1 interception this season, and I believe he has only had 1 fumble as well that has been actually lost. The interception wasn't even his fault because his offensive receiver just dropped the ball and then it was deflected, intercepted, and everything like that. But when you look at him, he's put up 5 touchdowns through the air and 5 touchdowns through the ground. So you look at that and a 10-2 turnover ratio, that is pretty good. You look at someone like Patrick Mahomes, for example, having 6 interceptions on the season. So that is not a good turnover ratio. But anyway, we're not comparing Patrick Mahomes to Justin Fields. We're just talking about turnovers. And the big thing with the Steelers in the previous years has been Mike Tomlin saying they need to cut down on turnovers. Cut down on turnovers. Well, this season they've cut down on turnovers, and Justin Fields is doing an amazing job. His record in terms of completion percentage is 66.3%. That's the highest of his career. And he's completed 106 of 160 pass attempts. And when you look at quarterback rating, he has a rating of the highest in his career, once again, in 93.9, and a QBR of 54, which is the highest of his career again. So he is so comfortable, and it looks like he actually knows what he's doing out there, scanning the field, making the right decisions. This is the best he has looked in his career, and you're just going to take that all away from him and strip him of his confidence. This is supposed to be your quarterback of the future. Well, he's not the quarterback of the future. He's the quarterback of right now. I personally believe he should stay as quarterback for the Steelers team. He gives this team the best chance to win. This offense line is dealing with so many injuries. They have 3 players out from Zach Frazier now, who's going to be out multiple weeks because of probably an ankle injury. They have right guard James Daniels out with an Achilles injury, and obviously Troy Fatanu out with a knee injury. Those are 3 starters. And what does the starters mean when you're kind of injured in offense line? They can't block. They can't pass block. So Russell Wilson, who's dealing with a calf injury, how is he supposed to move around? He will not be able to move around and make the running capabilities that Justin Fields was doing with his legs to get first downs and everything like that. And I believe this offense will go downhill from that because he won't be able to do that. Yes, will it be better maybe passing the ball, purely passing, finding George Pickens, Kelvin Austin, Pat Fryermuth, and all that? Sure. Purely passing, sure. But in terms of winning football games, because of everything, there's going to be much more sacks. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, I believe, it will not be good. Justin Fields should stay the starter as he's the better quarterback at this point in their career. He has over 1,300 plus yards for the season thus far on both through the air and the ground, and he's shown his worth to the Steelers team and to the Steelers fans who are desperately wanting a quarterback to step up since Big Ben, and he has been that quarterback. And he has relieved us from our stress of the Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, Mitchell Trubisky days. So, Justin Fields, however, it looks like that doesn't matter. Per reports, he's being benched, and Russell Wilson's being starter. Obviously, we're still going to wait on final word from Mike Tomlin, but that looks like the course of direction the Steelers are taking with the quarterback situation. But anyway, that's the end of this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on this. Do you believe Russell Wilson should be the starter? Justin Fields should be the starter? Who would you start? And how do you feel as though Mike Tomlin replacing Justin Fields as a starter for Russell Wilson? Do you believe that's a mistake like I believe? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, highlights, analysis, reports, everything Pittsburgh Steelers. I cover it. I'll continue to cover it. So like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and until next time, I'll see you guys all later. I'm out. Peace.